Welcome to Moments in History channel. Today we're embarking on a journey through time to explore the rich and complex history of one of the world's major faiths, Islam. This is a story that begins on the sands of the Arabian Peninsula and now spans the entire globe, influencing countless cultures and shaping the course of human history. So, let's dive in. Our story starts in the early 7th century, in a bustling trade city called Mecca, located in modern-day Saudi Arabia. This was a time of tribal societies, diverse beliefs, and vibrant commerce. Into this world, around the year 570 CE, a man named Muhammad was born. He belonged to the respected Quraysh tribe and was known for his integrity and contemplative nature. He often retreated to the mountains surrounding Mecca to meditate. It was during one of these retreats, in the year 610 CE, that something extraordinary happened. While in a cave on Mount Hijra, Muhammad, at the age of 40, reported receiving his first revelation. He described being visited by the angel Gabriel, who delivered a message directly from God. This was the first of many revelations that would continue for the rest of his life. These divine messages, spoken in powerful and poetic Arabic, would later be compiled into the holy book of Islam, the Qur'an. What was the core of this new message? It was a radical declaration of monotheism in a largely polytheistic society. The revelations proclaimed the absolute oneness of God, or Allah in Arabic. This wasn't a new God, but the same God worshipped by prophets like Abraham, Moses, and Jesus. The message also called for a profound social and moral transformation. It condemned idol worship, criticized the greed of the Meccan elite, and advocated for social justice, care for the poor, orphans, and widows, and a deep, personal devotion to God. Initially, Muhammad shared these revelations privately with his close family and friends. His wife, Khadija, became his first follower, followed by his cousin Ali and his close friend Abu Bakr. But as he began to preach publicly, his message started to attract a small but dedicated group of followers. However, it also sparked intense opposition. The powerful leaders of Mecca saw this new faith as a direct threat to their traditional beliefs, their social hierarchy, and the profitable pilgrimage business centered around the Kaaba, a sacred shrine that housed numerous idols. The persecution of Muhammad and his followers grew increasingly severe. They were mocked, ostracized, and subjected to physical abuse. The situation became so dangerous that in 622 CE, Muhammad made a momentous decision. He led his followers on a migration from Mecca to the city of Yathrib, about 200 miles to the north. This event is known as the Hijra, and it is so significant that it marks the beginning of the Islamic calendar. The city of Yathrib was renamed Medina, meaning the city of the Prophet. The Hijra was a turning point. In Medina, Muhammad was no longer just a preacher. He became a leader, a statesman, and a lawmaker. He established a constitution known as the Charter of Medina, which created a unified community, or ummah, consisting of his followers from Mecca, the inhabitants of Medina, and the local Jewish tribes. This document laid out the rights and responsibilities of all citizens, establishing a framework for peaceful coexistence and mutual defense. For the first time, a community was founded not on tribal kinship, but on a shared faith and a common set of principles. Over the next decade, the new Islamic community in Medina grew in strength and numbers. This period was marked by a series of conflicts with the Meccan forces, who still sought to crush the new faith. These battles were not just for survival, but also for the ideological soul of Arabia. Despite being outnumbered in many instances, the Muslims managed to defend themselves and expand their influence. Finally, in 630 CE, in a nearly bloodless victory, Muhammad and his followers returned to Mecca. He entered the city, forgave his former enemies, and rededicated the Kaaba to the worship of the one God, clearing it of all its idols. This act symbolized the ultimate triumph of Islam in its birthplace. By the time of Prophet Muhammad's death in 632 CE, the new faith had spread across most of the Arabian Peninsula, uniting disparate tribes under a single spiritual and political banner. With Muhammad's passing, the question of leadership arose. This led to the era of the Rashidun, or the rightly guided caliphs. These were four of Muhammad's closest companions, who led the Muslim community in succession: Abu Bakr, Umar, Uthman, and Ali. During their rule, the Islamic Empire expanded at an astonishing rate. Within just a few decades, Muslim armies conquered vast territories of the Byzantine Empire to the west and the Sasanian Persian Empire to the east. The speed and success of this expansion were remarkable. Driven by a combination of military strategy, the exhaustion of the old empires, and the appeal of the Islamic message of justice and equality. This rapid growth, however, also brought challenges. It was during this period that the major division within Islam began to form. The split originated from a dispute over who should succeed the Prophet. Those who believed that leadership should fall to the most qualified individual chosen by the community became known as Sunnis. Those who believed that leadership was a divine right that should remain within the Prophet's family, specifically through his cousin and son-in-law Ali, became known as Shias. This fundamental disagreement over succession would shape the political and religious landscape of the Islamic world for centuries to come. Today, Sunnis make up the vast majority of Muslims, while Shias constitute a significant minority. Following the rightly guided caliphs, the Umayyad Caliphate rose to power in 661 CE, establishing a hereditary dynasty with its capital in Damascus. The Umayyads continued the expansion, pushing the borders of the Islamic Empire from Spain in the west to the Indus River Valley in the east. This was a period of consolidation, Arabic becoming the language of administration, and the construction of magnificent architectural works like the Dome of the Rock in Jerusalem. However, the Umayyads faced criticism for what many saw as a move towards a more secular, imperial style of rule. This discontent eventually led to their overthrow in 750 CE by the Abbasids. The Abbasid Caliphate moved the capital to a newly founded city, Baghdad, which quickly became the world's foremost center of learning and culture. This marked the beginning of what is often called the Islamic Golden Age. For roughly 5 centuries, from the 8th to the 13th century, the Islamic world was a beacon of intellectual and scientific progress. While Europe was in the midst of the Dark Ages, Muslim scholars, thinkers, and scientists were making groundbreaking advancements. They preserved and translated the classical works of Greek, Persian, and Indian philosophy and science. But they didn't just preserve knowledge, they built upon it. In mathematics, scholars like al-Khwarizmi developed algebra. In fact, the word algebra comes from the title of his book. They also introduced the Arabic numeral system, including the concept of zero, which revolutionized calculation. In medicine, physicians like Ibn Sina, known as Avicenna in the West, wrote comprehensive encyclopedias that were used as standard medical textbooks in Europe for centuries. In astronomy, observatories in Baghdad, Damascus, and Samarkand mapped the stars with unprecedented accuracy. Philosophers like Ibn Rushd or Averroes engaged deeply with Aristotelian thought, influencing European scholasticism. The arts also flourished, with intricate calligraphy, geometric patterns, and stunning architecture defining a unique Islamic aesthetic. This golden age was a period of incredible diversity and cross-cultural exchange. Baghdad was a cosmopolitan hub where Muslim, Christian, and Jewish scholars collaborated, translating texts and debating ideas. This intellectual vibrancy was fueled by a culture that valued knowledge and a vast trade network that connected 3 continents. But this era couldn't last forever. The Abbasid Caliphate began to fracture internally, with local dynasties asserting their independence. The final blow came in 1258, when the Mongol armies, led by Hulagu Khan, sacked Baghdad. They destroyed the city's great libraries, including the House of Wisdom, and brought the Abbasid Caliphate to an end. This was a devastating event for the Islamic world. Yet Islam as a faith and a civilization did not end. In fact, it continued to spread and evolve. In the centuries that followed, 3 major Islamic empires rose to prominence. The Ottoman Empire, based in Turkey, which controlled much of the Middle East, North Africa, and southeastern Europe for over 600 years. The Safavid Empire in Persia, which established Shia Islam as the state religion. And the Mughal Empire in India, which created a magnificent synthesis of Islamic and Indian cultures, leaving behind wonders like the Taj Mahal. During this time, Islam also spread peacefully along trade routes. Merchants, missionaries, and Sufi mystics carried the faith to West Africa, East Africa's Swahili coast, Southeast Asia, where Indonesia is now the world's most populous Muslim country, and deep into Central Asia. This spread wasn't through conquest, but through cultural exchange, adaptation, and the appeal of its teachings. The modern era, beginning in the 18th and 19th centuries, brought new challenges with the rise of European colonialism. Much of the Muslim world came under foreign rule, leading to a period of political decline and soul-searching. This experience sparked various reform movements within Islam, as thinkers grappled with how to respond to modernity, science, and Western political dominance. In the 20th century, as colonial empires dismantled, new nation-states emerged across the Muslim world, each charting its own course. This has led to a wide spectrum of political systems and cultural expressions, from secular republics to Islamic monarchies. Today, Islam is the world's second-largest religion, with nearly 2 billion followers. It is a faith of immense diversity, practiced by people of every race and ethnicity on every continent. From the skyscrapers of Dubai to the ancient mosques of Timbuktu, from the scholars in Cairo to the tech entrepreneurs in Silicon Valley, the story of Islam is still being written. It's a history marked by moments of brilliant achievement, profound spirituality, and complex challenges. It's the story of a faith that began with a single revelation in a cave and grew into a global civilization that continues to shape our world in countless ways. Thank you so much for joining me on this journey through the history of Islam. If you found this video informative, please give it a thumbs up and consider subscribing to Moments in History channel for more deep dives into history and culture. Let us know in the comments what topic you'd like to see next. Until then, take care.